Today you are living the life of a coal miner in northeast China. The rise and fall of an entire city is carved into this one man's face. I was born in the residential compound of a state-owned coal mine in northeast China, and my father was a veteran face miner there. Every household burned coal, and the smell of coal smoke hung in the air all year round. It was the era of the iron rice bowl, and the whole city fed off that one mine. My father went down the pit to dig coal and came home with a face black with grime. Yet he always stood tall and said being a mine man was an honor. Mine kids were never afraid of the dark. My friends and I would scramble all over the coal heaps, smearing our faces black and racing to see who could slide the farthest, our laughter carrying half a street away. On holidays, the mine handed out benefits: rice, flour, oil, and meat, all in good measure, with songs blaring from the loudspeaker. My father hauled home a sack of white flour and said, "As long as the mine stands, our family will never go hungry." The mine had its own school for workers' children, its own bathhouse and hospital. You could spend a whole lifetime within that compound. The teachers said, "Study hard. Take over your father's post one day. Going down the pit is the surest future." Once there was an accident underground, and in the middle of the night, every light in the compound came on. My mother gripped my hand and kept watch at the pit mouth until she saw my father's surface safe, and only then let out a long breath. At 18, I took over my father's post and officially became a face miner. The first time I pulled on the work jacket and the helmet lamp, I followed my father's back down the shaft. Underground, it was black and stifling, the tunnel so low I could not straighten my back. I learned from my mentor to drill, blast, set supports, and clear coal. After one shift, I was soaked in sweat, and even my spit came out black. Hard as the work was, the wages came every month and the off-shift bell rang on time. After surfacing for a hot bath, a few of us would pool our money for a bottle of liquor. Life felt solid and settled. The mine ran well and named model workers every year. Twice in a row, I was honored as a top face miner, pinned with a big red flower on stage while my father clapped his hands raw in the seats below. Matchmakers wore out the threshold of our home in the compound. They all said a mine worker held an iron rice bowl, secure through drought or flood. Before long, I married a quick, warm-hearted girl from the neighboring workshop. After the wedding, we were given a single-story mine flat, and my wife helped out at the mine hospital. I went down the pit while she cooked, and at night, we watched a black and white television together. Our little life had real flavor to it. The day our first child was born, I happened to be on the night shift. When I surfaced and heard the good news, I ran for the hospital without even changing out of my work clothes, leaving a trail of black footprints across the snow. The year my father retired, he handed his miner's lamp into my hands and said he had gone down the pit all his life and never made a serious mistake. Now that the lamp had passed to me, the rest was up to me. In the 90s, the wind changed. The documents for restructuring the state enterprise came down, a batch of mine workers were cut, and I received my layoff notice too. Clutching that slip of paper, my palms were drenched in sweat. An iron rice bowl held for decades, smashed just like that. The compound was full of people packing up, some cursing, some weeping. I crouched at the pit mouth and smoked a whole pack of cigarettes without a word. Those 2 years out of work were truly hard. My wife ran a breakfast stall. I pedaled a tricycle hauling coal, scraping together every cent for the children's tuition. Yet the fire in my chest never went out. I set my eyes on an abandoned small coal pit outside the city. There was still coal underground, but no one dared touch it. I figured I knew going down the pit better than anyone, so why couldn't I do it? I emptied out everything we had and went door to door borrowing from relatives and friends until I scraped together the contract fee. My wife tried to stop me, saying it was too risky. I said this was our one chance to turn things around. The day the contract was signed, I led a few fellow laid-off miners into the small pit. We repaired the supports and cleared the rubble, and the moment the lamps lit up, I found the old feeling of going down the pit again. The first few months were all spending and no income, the machines breaking down every other day while I slept in the work shed at the pit mouth. When my wife brought food and saw how worn down I had become, she turned away to wipe her tears. After all that struggle, the first cartload of coal came out of the pit, weighed, loaded, and sold. Clutching that wad of cash, my hands shook hard. This was the first bucket of gold I had dug out with my own hands. It happened just as the city was building roads and factories, and coal was short everywhere. The trucks waiting to buy lined up all the way down the dirt road outside the pit, drivers waiting with cash in hand to load up. The price of coal changed and climbed month by month. I poured every cent I earned right back in, adding machines, digging new tunnels, hiring more men. The fellow miners all said this time I was really about to strike it rich. The golden decade of coal had arrived. The price climbed higher and higher in leaps, and my little pit became a hen laying golden eggs. The coal it produced in a single day could fill several trucks. The money came too fast to even count. The numbers in the ledger grew bigger by the day, and bank men began showing up at my door, begging me to deposit my money with them. I built a small house in the best part of town and bought a black off-road car. The neighbors who once swung wide of our home now bowed and scraped whenever they saw me. At the dinner table, everyone called me the coal boss. Fine cigarettes, fine liquor, and whoever had a problem came to me for help. With a wave of my hand, I would hand out money as if it were nothing. I moved my parents into the new house and hired the best tutors in the city for my children. My wife no longer had to run a stall and wore respectable clothes, yet she always urged me not to be so reckless. With more coal, the string of safety slackened. Oversight was loose, and to save money, I kept putting off the ventilation and drainage equipment. The miners underground warned me a few times, but I brushed it all aside. I took over 2 more pits next door and hired more and more men. There was so much money in the accounts it made me uneasy, and I started to lose my head, believing this coal would never run out and the money would never stop. In those years, on every holiday, the cars outside my gate stretched in a long line. People who once looked down on me all came claiming kinship. Glass in hand, I felt I had won at life all the way to the end. My wife quietly put a sum of money into an account she would not touch, saying we always needed a way out. I scoffed at her timidity, asking why she fretted over such things in times this good. Wave after wave of migrant workers came to the mine, calling me boss. I treated them to meals and, slapping my chest, swore that anyone who worked with me was sure to make good money. It was the dead of night when the pit suddenly flooded. A phone call jolted me from sleep, and by the time I reached the pit mouth, the water had already swallowed the tunnels below. Several of my fellow miners were trapped down there. I knelt at the pit mouth, kowtowing to the rescue team, crying that no cost was too great to bring the men back up. But it was already too late. The accident reached the authorities. An investigation team moved in, and my little pit was ordered shut for rectification. Compensation and fines came down one after another, and all the money I had earned poured out like water. I handed over every bit of my savings as compensation to the families of the dead miners. Watching them sob in each other's arms, I could not say a single word, only feeling that the money burned in my hands. The rectification orders came one after another, with illegal small pits being cleaned up nationwide. All of mine were shut and sealed overnight, the machinery left to rust where it stood with no one wanting it. To fill the hole, I sold the car and mortgaged the small house in the city. From coal boss to a man in debt, the whole thing took no more than a single short year. The people who once circled around me vanished one by one. Those who owed me money hid and would not pay, and my calls met either a busy line or a dead one. At the dinner table, no one raised a glass to me anymore. My wife dug out the money she had secretly saved back then and pressed it into my hands, saying as long as the green hills remain, there will be firewood. Clutching that passbook, I could not bring myself to look up at her for a long while. The more coal we dug, the less there was, and the city shrank along with it. Young people left for the south in droves. The shops on the streets closed one after another, and the once bustling mine district grew quieter year by year. I tried to change trades, ran a small restaurant, dabbled in buying and selling, but lost money on everything. Hands that had dug coal for half a lifetime, once away from that pit, did not even know what else they could do. The children grew up and went south to work with everyone else, coming home only for the new year. My wife and I kept watch over the old house, the rooms so still that only the ticking of the clock remained. The year the mine district shut down for good, the old fellows gathered for a drink. Some said they had given their whole lives to coal, and some said at least they had caught those few good years. I often walked alone to the abandoned pit mouth. The winding tower had rusted to a deep red, the tunnels long since sealed, and the wind moaned as it swept through the empty factory halls. I have kept the miner's lamp my father left me all this time. It long ago stopped lighting, yet every time I wipe it clean, I can still see the courtyard full of coal smoke and laughter from those years. If his life has struck a chord with you too, give it a share so more people can see the rise and fall of a coal city. Do you think he came out ahead in this life, or behind? Cast your vote in the comments.